When I was a little boy, I was a little bit of a nervous Nilly, if you will. I remember playing Little League baseball, and I'd be up to bat, and I remember just being so nervous. What's going to happen if I strike out? I remember being terrified at times as a little boy playing Little League baseball. I was a self-doubter. And I wish that I could say that as a little kid I left that behind, but as I moved into high school, I remember receiving an assignment. We were to memorize a poem, and we were to recite it in front of our class. I was not good at memorization. And I remember standing in front of the class, terrified during that day of my sophomore year of high school, terrified, having to recite this poem. I had all this doubt for whatever reason that I just couldn't do it. It left a scar, I think, on me. And again, I wish I could say that I left all that self-doubt behind, but I got to be honest to you as your pastor. When I get up in front of you each weekend like I do, there's this little voice inside me that goes, are you saying anything anybody cares about? And I got to be honest, I'm human like you. I wonder, am I a good enough father? Am I a good enough spouse? Am I a good enough friend? You see, I think to have self-doubt means that you are human. And if you've ever doubted yourself, well, today, this episode of the Daily Dose is for you. Because here's what I think. At the heart of the Christian faith, I think for many of us is this idea that we've got to have strong belief in God. That we've got to somehow muster up and manufacture belief in God. But for those of you who are self-doubters like me, here's what I want you to know. At the heart of the Christian faith isn't anything you will ever do. It's not about your belief. I believe with all my heart, at the heart of the Christian faith is a God who believes in you. You see, I think sometimes we get that backwards. Someone described the life of faith the way that many of us live it as a man trying to go up an escalator that comes down. We believe we've got to muster up all this faith and do all the right things to somehow please God. But the fact of the matter is God comes down to you. It's not about your belief in God. Rather, the life of faith is about a God who believes in you. Have you ever thought of that? In the book of Isaiah, the prophet writes in chapter 41, verse 10, these words. Friends, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be afraid, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will be at your right hand. You see, those are words of a God who believes in you. And that God is present from the very beginning of our story of faith to the very end. From Adam and Eve, who God placed in the garden and said, I believe in you. You might make mistakes, but I don't care. But I believe, I'm giving you all of this. To Abraham, who God said, I'm going to make a covenant with you. My people, everything. I give you this covenant. I make this promise to you. I'm going to give you nations. I'm going to give you people. God uses Abraham, who doubts God. It didn't matter who Abraham was necessarily, but God believed in him. Or how about that woman at the well, the woman with a questionable past, a woman who snuck to the well at midday when she knew no one else would be there so she wouldn't be ridiculed. Jesus said, no, I believe in you. Or how about Mary and Joseph, the mother and father of Jesus? God chose these two poor kids from nowhere, Nazareth, to parent the Son of God. And then there's Paul Paul, who was a persecutor of Christians. God used Paul to write more of the New Testament than anyone else. He started more churches in that ancient world than anybody else. God said through Jesus, I believe in you, Paul. You see, we're going to have self-doubt. I mean, to doubt ourselves is to be human. But here's what I believe with all my heart. We have a God who believes in you. A God who says, I'm on your side. A God who is cheering you on. A God who says, I'm on your team. A God who's proud of you regardless if you do the right things or don't do the right things. If you make mistakes, regardless of your performance, God says, I'm on your side. A God who will be your greatest advocate. He'll be that coach that says, get back in the game. I believe in you. We've got this. You see, folks, the life of faith, it's not about sort of what we can do, what we can muster up in terms of our belief. Folks, the great gift of our faith is that you and me, we have a God who believes in us, even when we don't believe in ourselves. Friends, if you have somebody maybe who's struggling with self-doubt these days, would you share this with them? I'd love for you to do that. Help them to know that they have a God who believes in them. If you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and share this post, like it. If you're watching on YouTube, would you go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. And if you're watching the Daily Dose at home on Cable Access 181, just maybe you'll invite a friend to watch with you tomorrow. Folks, thanks for tuning in.
Heaven thundered, and the world was born. Life begins and ends in the dust you form. Faith commanded, and the mountains moved. Fear is losing ground to our hope in you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Oh, freedom conquered, all our chains undone. Sin defeated, Jesus is overcome. Mercy triumphed when the third day dawned. Darkness was denied when the stone was gone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Oh, unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Oh, nothing shall be impossible. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Nothing shall be impossible. Your kingdom reigns unstoppable. We'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Oh, unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on.